dude, I am ready for tonight. I got
What do you got there?
2 Coors Lights, two tall boys.
Do you like Coors Light?
You know, it's that or Miller Lite. I don't know. I go back and forth. You know what I mean? I'm not.
Is that just what was that Circle K or something? Or
Well, Circle K has everything, right?
yeah,
So
but I mean, like, why you buy Coors Light?
what's the other option? Like Bud Light?
Something better, like a Kilt Lifter.
No. So, dude, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to like. That's just going to give me a headache. I'm too old.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And you know, Coors Light gives me headaches. These beers I drink do not give me headaches at all. Like I can drink a 12-pack of these and be fine.
Nice. Dude, so Kim asked me when I got home Monday, after hanging with you for the Super Bowl, and
right.
She was like, how was it? And I was like, oh, it was great. Your parents are always so nice, man. Like the Super Bowl party that they throw, and everyone there's always so nice. Like it feels like family for me. I've known them forever. I was like, man, I was freaking super disappointed. And she was like, why? And I was like, I found out Chris really 100% believes in Bigfoot.
Dude, come on. Listen, when you say it like that, listen.
That's how you were, man. You really believed in it.
No. Okay, when you say it like that, it sounds kind of foolish. Like, but do I believe in him? Yes. Would I say, like, would I bet my house and life on it right now? No, I wouldn't. You know what I mean? But I mean, I think there's a lot of compelling evidence. My wife, obviously, I have all these notes I'm writing down, and I was writing down even more just before you jumped on. Mm-hmm. And my wife's like, what are you doing? She walks in here. I'm getting set up.
Right.
What are you doing? I'm like, just, and I had asked her earlier, hey, do you believe in Bigfoot? She was like, I don't know. And she rolled her eyes, and that was the end of the conversation. And so I was writing my notes, and I'm like, I'm just getting ready for Slim, podcast with Slim. He's like, oh, is it about Bigfoot? And I'm like, I'm embarrassed. Yes. I go, don't judge me. I'm embarrassed to say that, yes, I do believe in Bigfoot or something, not to the degree of, okay, so after all this, like, since we decided we're going to talk about Bigfoot, mm-hmm. I did tons and tons of research, just watching videos and stuff. And I was thinking, man, I really don't want to be in this Bigfoot community. I mean, like the believers, it's just, to me, they're just crazy. They're just absolutely nuts. But go ahead, finish what Kim said.
No, that was it. That was it. Just how crushed
Super
I
disappointed.
was. I was crushed. I couldn't believe that you really believe in Bigfoot, man. I just can't. So, did you send me a link today?
I did.
And I tried. I watched.
Did you watch at least the footage of it?
It was 20 minutes long.
No, I know, but there's literally 20 minutes long of a 4 or 5 second clip of something in the bushes there.
So I got in. I think I made about 8 minutes in. So I saw some of the clips of them in the footage. It looked super fake. The audio super fake. And I was, I told Kim, I was like, there was no context like before after this message. So I don't know if this was look how crazy this is, or dude, look, here's 100% proof.
Look at this is proof. Yeah.
And I couldn't.
And I did that on purpose. I did that on purpose. I meant to send you more stuff, but like, I saw that one and I'm like, look at these faces. They look totally fucking fake. And it, and I combed through probably about 20 videos of Bigfoot sightings or whatever. And most of them are there. It's in a distance and you can't really make out. It looks like a big figure.
Right.
One looked completely like a gorilla. Like it was so crazy, but it was in Mississippi. And there's other ones. I mean, in the original 1967, Patterson Gimlin film of that I showed you, dude. Yeah. To me, that's my favorite one.
Dude, listen, it's that video's good, but only because you can't. Like, it's so old, right? Like, it's so grainy. Right. It's so hard to, like, pick out, like, really finite details. So, I don't...
I mean, there was a 2000 film where that take place at in Marble Mountain, wherever, Northern California also. because that other one took that 1967 was also in Northern California, and it's a 2000 Samsung camcorder or something, a Sony camcorder that still isn't. It's still grainy. You know what I mean? Anything that's not today's technology, everything looks freaking grainy. You know what I mean?
Right. No, dude. So the clip you sent me today, was that like, did that sway you into believing that Bigfoot exists or not?
No, that one was just haha. Look at this.
Gotcha.
These are some of the weirdos that are fighting against me.
That makes me feel so much better. Like I was telling Kim, I was like, like just the audio quality, the fact that anytime there was like the sound of Bigfoot,
right,
they had like eerie music played over it. Like, so you couldn't really 100% pick out the sound of like, oh, this growling that's happening. And,
right.
And
there was another one that actually had a pretty good howl. That was kind of weird. I don't know what it was. I mean, it was like a 9-second long howl. It could have been anything, but it wasn't like the other ones. It wasn't like they're communicating with somebody. Did you hear that one where they're like making these weird noises? It sounds like they're talking in Japanese or whatever. But it was interesting. Like, dude, I'm telling you. Okay, so I just am not going to say that I think there's a good possibility, or even maybe a mild possibility, that there is something out there that we don't know. I mean, I don't think it's far fetched for me to believe something like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's other examples of things out there that people haven't seen in forever, or I mean, or all of a sudden there's species out there that we discover. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, but dude, maybe you don't feel this way anymore, but like from an intelligent life, like you were, last Sunday or two Sundays ago, you were adamant that they were like, these are intelligent beings that they hide their poo, because that was, an argument that I gave you. I was like, dude, like we would find some examples, some remnants of them, bones, something. You're like, maybe they bury their dead. And I'm like,
yeah,
dude,
I still think that. I mean, I still think if a Bigfoot exists, they don't want to be found, and they are almost probably semi-intelligent or intelligent. You know what I mean? Like, smart. They're, I don't know, maybe human smart, maybe smarter, maybe not as smart. I don't know.
Dude, they cannot be human. They can't even be close to human. Like,
why?
Because there's no dwellings. We haven't seen a Bigfoot house, right? There's no.
Yeah. What if they live underground? What if they have tunnels? What if they hide their shit? I mean, what if they're not, what if they are intelligent enough to do stuff like that? Not be camping out in the open or always out. What if there is a good amount of them, but they just send out an alpha Bigfoot to go out and get food, or go out and, and that's why you don't see them.
So they live in, like, they have the ability to dig like a tunnel system.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing shit out. Like,
but it doesn't make sense.
Why? Why doesn't that make sense?
Because how could they?
Because
go ahead.
Well, it doesn't make sense because you don't even want to think about it being a possibility. Like, think about it as it being a possibility, and then answer that question. Like they don't want to be found. They're intelligent or semi-intelligent that don't want to be found, and they live underground.
Dude, I think it's because I go to this level that if they're intelligent, if there's a tunnel system, we would somehow know about this. Like we would see an entrance, we would see wherever these sightings happen, and for sure, 99.999% of them, if not 100% of them, are freaking bullshit. But we would have scoured that area, and we would have found some entrance. We would have found something, dude. I did this thing.
You act like there's millions of people who want to find Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Like if you think about anybody who's brought up aliens in the past 50 years, they're kooks, right? They only used to, like 10 years ago, used to look for videos on the internet about aliens, and it was only fucking weirdos. Only weirdos saying they saw aliens. Only redneck hillbillies claiming they saw aliens and were abducted, or and that's all you saw. So you see the same thing right now with Bigfoot or anything else that's not fucking a human being. You know what I mean? So to me, there's a lot of things that people discredited, and all of a sudden it's there, it's real.
Dude, I think because of aliens, they're obviously intelligent, right? For someone to travel thousands of light years to get here, they they're either mechanical or some kind of like they're super intelligent,
Right.
and so those I can understand, like, dude, even if they live amongst us, right? I think that there's a valid argument for that, but I just can't see Bigfoot as this super intelligent being, right? And dude, there'd have to be so many. Dude, here's this
Go ahead.
study I read where they talked about, I think it was 50 to 500. I can't remember what the ratio was exactly, but they outlined like what the minimum viable number of creatures or life needs to exist for the species to prosper and continue on. And it was relatively low. I think it was 500 or something. I was like, wow, that seems weird. Like, but they would have to be in a group, right? Like if you had 500 wolves, they would have to be in a pack, and they all have to be in the same area. Like, you couldn't be 500 spread across the world, because then.
But why not? The wolves don't travel in 500 packs. There's thousands and thousands of wolves, and they do in packs of 10, and they're spread apart all over.
So I don't mean it, but like, dude, what is it, like the gray wolf, right? Like, was almost extinct, and there's some number that it needs to be, like, scientifically, where they're like, this is the minimum, and even then there's questions about like whether or not that's possible, right? Because even if you have, let's say, 500 of them, it's not like 500 of them are always going to live. Some are going to die early. Some are going to get, whether it's from, disease or being attacked, or like, and then they're going to have offspring, but the offspring is not viable. Like, so all of that comes into play. And then I read something else, and like, yeah, that's some really old number. And no one really believes that it's 500. It might be tenfold that. It might be 5,000 is what you need. And that's really for the species to just continue on with just normal life, smacking it in its face. And so if there's 5,000, let's even cut that in half. If there's 2,500 Bigfoots out there, I just think that we would see them. I think that we would find a pile of shit that they left. I think we'd find some kind of, and if they're intelligent, if they live underground, we'd find an entrance. I just can't. And if they're that smart, then like, what kind of tools do they have? Like we would know that they made tools. We'd notice them sharpening their freaking axe or whatever it is.
Unless it's underground. Unless they're underground in their caves, Chris. Listen, you say, okay, so, I've watched a lot of videos, and a lot of them were mostly people making fun of the idea or just saying how it's not possible, right?
I love it.
And that argument came across several times. There would have to be way more, and would have to be a lot more. Well, I mean, like a good example, okay? Mr. El Jefe Jaguar in Southern California. Did you know that jaguars exist in North America? Jaguars. Like a leopard, like a
cat, like a big
like a big, it's not a mountain lion, it's a big fucking jaguar. And there's literally like they are so they've only been seen on film twice or three times. And they think that one of them is the same one they saw. Like they saw one in 2016 and they saw one in 2023. Mm-hmm. And they think that one was the same one. And then they saw a black one, like a black leopard. So it's a black panther. But you can, the picture I seen, you can kind of see the shimmering dots underneath its black coat. I mean, and these things are seen so rarely, and they're just out in the open. They're running around in the desert. They're not hiding. And we don't see these very often. And they have, I think the first one ever caught on film was in 1998. You know what I mean? So, and these are just big cats, huge cats walking around, living their life, and they don't get seen. They've been seen 3 times or pictured 3 times in the last 30 years. So to me, if something that's just a regular cat or a non-intelligent cat, animal walking around the desert only gets seen on camera 3 times in 30 years. Why can't some semi-intelligent thing hiding in the dense forest that nobody goes into, can't hide if they don't want to be found?
you know that we know jaguars exist, right? Like we know.
Yeah, but not in America, not in the United States, not in like it's not it's they're not a North American cat. I mean, they are. They're actually, it's been proven since the 90s, but it's not something that we ever thought all of a sudden we see one or two or three, and then we see them. But that, where are the rest of them? How are these three cats, these three sightings? How are we not seeing more if there should be thousands of them? 5,000, 2,000,
Sure.
2,500 in that area.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, we know jaguars exist. We pretty much know Bigfoot doesn't exist.
I know, but explain that though. I mean, that does that contradict your need to have a large community and 5,000 plus or 2,500 if you cut it in half up to around. That means with that there should be 2,500 jaguars in southern Arizona hiding around there somewhere, right? With that thought, with that logic.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I don't know the range of a jaguar, right? Or like how far.
Who knows the range of a Bigfoot either, right?
Well, I mean, listen, it's a massive beast, right? They're saying it's. I mean, dude, even if it's 5 feet tall, right? Like, what's the range of a gorilla?
Gorillas
how
get
far?
pretty big. I think if a gorilla can stand up, I think they're 6 foot or above.
Right,
they can be pretty.
but how far do they go? Right? I mean, from home,
Oh,
are
I
they
don't
going to
know.
go? Are they going to go 50 miles? Like that's really
Well,
far.
I mean, like if you think about a bear, or bears travel like thousands of miles from there, and from where they are, they have a huge territory, 1,000-mile territory that they travel in. You know, lots of animals, lots of species have huge territories like that. They kind of just stay in this huge 1,000-mile, territory.
Yeah, but a bear's gonna like sleep in the open. Right?
Yeah,
like a bear's
because it's a dumb animal. You know what I mean? It's a dumb animal, and that's what people like. Like, I think if Bigfoot exists, he's not a dumb animal. That's what I'm saying. Is that if this Bigfoot does exist, he can't be a dumb animal like a bear or a jaguar. It's got to be somewhat intelligent.
So if this Bigfoot travels, let's even say it's 300 miles, it can't do that in a day. It probably couldn't do that in a week, right? I mean that's a distance, man. So it would probably cover maybe 20 miles a day max, and it's gonna like make a shelter, and it's smart enough to tear it down so we never see it? Or do we come across it and we're like, oh, this is a human shelter, look how great the construction is? Or does it just sleep out in the open, right? Like bears can travel, if they travel that kind of distance, they're not building a new den, right? Like the
Right.
den is where home is at. So I just can't.
What if it's nocturnal? What if it's rarely out what if it's at night, moves around at night a lot, or
That
goes
doesn't
place
matter.
to
We would
place?
still see it's going to sleep during the day then, right? Like I'm just saying, right? Like, dude, and then these spottings, dude, I will admit, right? Like if you're it doesn't help that every single Bigfoot video you ever see is made by an idiot, right? And it,
No, there is not. There's some, dude. If you've watched some of them, if you looked for some, there are some that are very like, oh my god, what is that? You know what I mean? Like they're not idiots. They're not clowns. There's a lot of videos out there that are just, I don't know what this is, and like they'll interview the guy, and the guy's like, I'm not saying it's Bigfoot. I'm just saying there's something big walking along the ridge of that mountain, and it was way bigger than like a human. And then they went back there a few days later, and he had his buddy go up on the same ridge, and it was obviously a smaller figure on the mountain compared to whatever they
Sure.
saw was up there.
Yeah.
And then the arms are extra long, and it's like, and he's not saying like this. These are guys aren't like Bigfoot crazy, and they make all these plastered footprints, which I fucking hate about this Bigfoot community. They put so much in these plaster footprints, but I mean, these are guys who just filmed something weird that they saw, and they're saying, I don't know, I think it's Bigfoot. Yeah, that's what I think it is. If I saw something big out there, I might think it's Bigfoot as well. You know what I mean? I mean, of course, I would. But like, if you saw something big out there that wasn't very human, would you think, oh, hey, that's Bigfoot? Jokingly, even, you would say. You know what I mean? And he wasn't like dead bent on it being Bigfoot. He was just saying, I don't know what it is. All I know is it was bigger than a guy, and it had long arms, and it was walking really fast up and down that ridge. Or like it was, Like it was taking they said there's a 1 point that's a 3-foot drop, and it walked over it like it was nothing.
So after this week of researching Bigfoot, it seemed like, do you still believe 100% that Bigfoot is a thing?
Dude, I didn't believe 100% before. I just believed that there's a possibility that he is there. Like I could buy into the fact that there's a Bigfoot is what I'm saying.
I don't know why.
And
I can't buy into
dude,
it at all.
if you think,
Zero
I know
chance.
you can't. And if you think about like, so if you threw in these factors, all right, say that there is a Bigfoot, or say that the Bigfoot that I believe in, or I think that could exist is maybe they do live underground. Maybe they have underground system. I don't know. Maybe they could travel long distances, and maybe they live to be extra old. You know what I mean? Like maybe they live 200-300 years. I just saw an article about a shark that they took a picture of in the Arctic area that was 362 years old. 362-year shark. That shark was swimming around in the 1600s. You know what I mean? Like imagine
How
what
big
if this,
was that shark?
It was pretty big. It was a big fucking shark.
A big, slow moving, like blue whale size. I mean, probably not because blue.
I wouldn't.
Are
No,
massive.
sharks don't get that big. But I mean, like it was big. Like it was. I don't know how. I didn't see how fast it was swimming, but it looked like a normal shark that was big.
Maybe I'm crazy
And
to
looked
think
old.
like you have turtles that can live to be 100 years old.
Fuck! I always spill these goddamn beers on me.
Dude,
Yeah, but turtles move slow at a young age. You know what I mean?
right, but that's why they can live to be 100. I feel like like we, as humans, like without modern medicine, we live to be 30. Right, like that was a common thing for probably hundreds of years. 45, 50 was super old. Right now, it's common to make it to 90, 85. My wife's mother-in-law just turned 80 this week.
Right.
But I
Do you if you this is going to branch off over that, because I don't know if I really believe a lot what history says. Like I don't know. I'm sure there might have been a time frame in the medieval times or Black Plague days where humans just lived to 30 or so. But I think that humans actually probably lived longer than people think. You know what I mean?
Really?
I think that, yes, I do. I actually, I get rabbit holed through all kinds of other things after I'm watching Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Other things.
yeah, they
pop
see
out.
that you're susceptible.
That's true. That is true story. But I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like, did you know? Okay, so I was also listening, like, and this is kind of points to my Bigfoot underground theory, because as I was listening to this ancient people thing I was watching, they talk about the meteor impact that the world has had.
Is this the Younger Dryas stuff?
Which one? What is that
Younger
from?
Dryas. It's where they think that. Well, it's like a theory, I believe, where it was like a reset of human civilization. That
Yeah.
the Sphinx
Well, yeah.
is way older than we say it is.
Yes,
all
yes.
that stuff.
Okay, yes. It was that. It was the ancient Egypt, the Sphinx. It was the pyramids that they think it's way older than. But they were saying how, like, during each of these resets, because there's been actually probably several resets, not just the big one that people talk about, but there was humans very smart, intelligent human beings that had technology way before, like when they think that the pyramids were actually built in,
Sure.
or when the Sphinx was actually built in. They had all kinds of weird tech. Maybe they went, like, our civilization went a certain way with technology, but they went a different direction in technology. So they didn't have all the microchips and shit like that. They just had a different kind of technology that
Right.
went a different way.
Dude, there was.
Anyway,
Go ahead.
they were saying that these people, like when this meteor hit, that humans survived by living underground, by going underground and living underground until it was safe to come up, and then they came up and continued living. So, to me, me, I'm thinking, well, maybe that's part of the thing. These are underground.
Yeah, but in order, I think that means they just went into caves where they were already living. And dude, I've heard stuff like that, and when I heard it, I thought that they just like hid in the cave for 3 days. That's all they did.
Oh, dude, when a meteor is like a nuclear winter for like years and years and years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they would have
It's
to.
like
They would have to have supplies. Then they had to. They would have planned for it, right? There's no
maybe they were
way
intelligent enough to plan for it. I don't know.
they would need lights, like to grow plants.
Like they were almost saying
They would need
that
protein. I mean, there's no way.
yeah. I mean, how do we survive them? I mean, like there's artifacts that are thousands and thousands and thousands of years old that like you know, they used to say humans were only around for 4,000 years or whatever, you know, something crazy. And they find out they're been around for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60,000 years now. You know what I mean? They're finding remains or tools that date back way, way, way far.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think that I don't understand how, like, that doesn't mean they lived underground. I mean, there's no way, dude, us, like, even if we plan for it, right? Like, think if, sure, we have a different set of technology and, you know, microchips versus whatever else we might come up with. Almost like, I believe this, if there's a different type of technology, it couldn't be electronic, right? It couldn't be electricity driven. But you would still need, for us to live underground for 3 years today, what would it take for us to survive as a civilization? I mean, shit, just to survive as a family, right? If there's 10 of us,
Right.
and the amount, like, we'd have to grow food, we'd have to have protein. There's just, and which means we'd have to feed animals, we'd have to get rid of its shit so we wouldn't die. We'd have to, like, it just seems. It seems unlikely. I mean, I would think if there was an ancient civilization and there was some kind of meteor impact, there were some areas that were less affected than others, and those were the ones that made it. That maybe they only had to hide for a month, right? That they were stuck in their cave and it was shitty and still some people died, but it still was, you know, everyone else died off. 70% of the population died off, and these are the 30 that were left to repopulate. These were the 500 or 2,500 that I talked about earlier, right? And it was this reset that had to start over. They didn't know. I mean, that's because otherwise, dude, there's no way that we could live without any form of plant, like without any technology. I mean, photosynthesis is still like that's how plants work, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean,
unless we were a different kind of human, unless that
Right.
somehow we got food in our body, like there's no way.
yeah, but like, I mean, there's been mass extinctions of the earth a million times. You know what I mean? Where dinosaurs, yet, you know, they say that alligators and crocodiles have been around really since the dinosaur
Roaches.
ages, or roaches. All these things have been around. So, you know, they all have to have the same shit we need. You know what I mean? Maybe not roaches. Roaches could survive anything, but there are animals that's been around, that lived, that's evolved from those days. So we didn't start over like when this meteor killed the dinosaurs. We didn't start over from bacteria and then grow again. You know what I mean? We still evolved from whatever was left.
Yeah, dude, I'm not saying that there wasn't some kind of mass extinction. I
But
believe
they lived. People lived. Our things lived, and those are things that don't know to find shelter.
dude,
or
if
don't
an
know
atomic bomb goes off in Japan, right, and even if there's some kind of crazy fallout, you know, people in California are going to be okay.
Yeah, but atomic bomb is not a meteor that is an extinction level meteor that we've had hit
But
this
that's
Earth.
what I'm saying is there has to be some level of like wind currents, jet stream kind of related stuff where they're going to make it, right? I mean, sure, a large swath of the population is extinct. I'm not, dude, I agree that has happened. That's happened. I mean, I think dude, I read something the other day that it was like, it's like every 200 million years or something, like, and we're due, right? I mean, you could look at, like, you know, Yellowstone erupts every, you know, X number of millions of years or something, and we're due for
Right.
that. There's some
we're overdue by like millions of years.
yeah, right. It's gonna
or something
it's
like
gonna,
that. Yeah,
like, there's some kind of
yeah.
like global thing that should happen that should reset us, and you know, meteorite
Well-
is so plausible for sure.
Well, and that's why they were saying that I think that is an old idea, that it's like that we've actually had way more of these extinction level threats, whether it be a super volcano or meteorites hitting the earth. It's happened way more than what people like. Even you know, even the smaller meteorites that hit that weren't that really just caused, you know, weird things happening, like they talk about the dark age or whatever, where,
Right.
It was just something over the like clouds, dust or whatever up in the atmosphere for, several years, lots of years. But I mean, I was just, from when I was listening to that anyway, they were saying that it's possible that we probably had several huge impacts that affected human civilization. And that's why, you get archaeologists who just don't believe in that they're kind of just stuck on the old way of thinking that this was the only possible, that humans only been around for this long. It's impossible for them to, they built the pyramids by rolling them on logs and lifting them up all the way to the top. Like they're saying that's, but people are like, no, it's, they found these like supposedly, like for the pyramids, these quarries that they how do you say that word?
Quarries. Yeah.
Quarries.
Rock quarries.
Yeah. That they were found, like some of the stuff is found 1,000 miles away from the pyramids. They had to take it 1,000 miles, or they had to
like across a river too.
Yeah, and
There's
across
no
the river
way.
or down a river. And they were saying the biggest boat that they found is just this long piece of crap that wouldn't be able to carry anything. That's 5,000 tons. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, they're saying that they had to have had some sort of technology to do this, but
It's funny. I was talking to Kim about this, my wife, and she she had this thought. She was like, well, why is it? Because Joe Rogan talks about this a bunch, right? And she was like, why are these guys only on Joe Rogan's podcast? Like, why is this not like a in mainstream, media, or like not even media, but like why isn't it well known?
Why aren't we being taught this in school?
Well, right, and it's dude, it's so like there's so much compelling evidence, and it sucks that just talking about it is like the same as if believing in Bigfoot is what it seems like.
Right.
Right.
And that is my whole point.
Kim looks at me the same way when I say, no, there's been a reset like 7 times, like humans,
Right.
like we used to be smart. It was a different kind of technology, whatever. And she looks at me the same way that I look at you about Bigfoot. And she's
Right.
like, you're an idiot. And
I know. But like to me, I can see that it's possible. You know what I mean? It's to think that like the legend of Bigfoot, or like it goes back hundreds of years, like from Indians seeing things, or Native Americans seeing things, and it, like, to me, there's always like anything that people that like there's got to be some truth behind something. You know what I mean? That's why I believe in ghosts. That's why I believe in shit that like people see. They're seeing something. So what is it?
dude, there's no way. Like, it's funny. I was saying that I don't, I don't believe in ghosts. I don't think ghosts are a real thing. But I would believe more in ghosts than I would of Bigfoot 1,000 times.
Really?
And yeah, the ghosts are way.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, I mean, like, why? I mean, it's like you don't want to live outside of what you think the possibilities are, when we are proven all the time that things are not what we thought, forever. Like, we thought the world was flat, and we find out it's not. We thought our solar system was the only thing around. Now it's not. Like, we prove ourselves wrong all the time about what we think is true and what's not true.
Dude, I can 100% think that there's species on this earth that we haven't found before. But something as big as Bigfoot, something as intelligent as Bigfoot, as you try to portray, I just don't. I think that we would, if it's that smart, if it's that intelligent, it would be different than any other species out there, of meaning that it just wants to be solitary. It wants to be left alone. It's not going to try to protect its house. It's not going to try to protect its territory. It's not going to try to protect its children, just by, like in that last video you sent me, it was oh, look, you can hear them throwing rocks. And if they're that smart, like, rocks aren't going to hurt anyone. You know what I
Right.
mean? And
That was just an example of, gosh, why are these people like making it hard for me, over anything else? But that's what all the alien believers said, the same thing, me included. Like, it's a smoke screen so that people don't believe in shit that's not Jesus or God or you can't think outside this box, otherwise the world is screwed. You know what I mean? And to me, that's what these weirdos that have all these fake videos are throwing. They're just a smokescreen in my opinion. Anyway, it makes people like you we're like, it's completely no way. You know what I mean? Because all you see are these freaking redneck hillbillies talking about the Bigfoot they saw. Yeah, I saw them there Bigfoot over there in that mountain. Oh yeah, it was huge and it ate my dogs even.
Dude, I would.
You know what I mean? Like,
right. I mean, dude, there's no way. There's no the next species we're gonna find is gonna be a bird. It's gonna be some bird in the Amazon where we're gonna be like, oh, it's this. We miscategorized this bird. We thought it was part of this. This breed, but this is a totally different breed because of the curvature of its beak. It's going to be this little tiny thing that has no imprint on the earth in comparison, right? Like, dude, if there was 50 humans that lived in the forest, we would know that those 50 humans lived there. Like we would see some remnants of them. We're intelligent enough. We wouldn't hide. I mean, sure, we might bury our people, but then we would mark it with a gravestone. Like we're not hiding. I mean, unless they. I mean, think of, dude. I just started watching. Oh, shoot, what's it called? The Last of Us.
Oh yeah. Such a good show, man.
Dude, does that come out on Sundays?
The video game is great, huh? Yeah,
Sundays. Okay, yeah. So we're all caught up. I'm so freaking disappointed. I'm like, stupid HBO, man. They want to release it once a week.
Just give it all to me.
With the times. This isn't how we watch stuff.
But they're talking about Netflix going away from that system of releasing them all at the same time.
Really?
Yeah, because it's not talked about for the 10 weeks. It's talked about for the 3 weeks that people binge it in.
That's a great point. That's a great point. But dude, so if we're hiding from zombies, I can see like these are intelligent beings in the sense that if you step on some moss somewhere and it's like this giant ecosystem of like mushrooms or right and so you got to be careful and so like it's I don't know I that's what you're kind of we would know if Bigfoot existed. We would know. We would see them. We would know that they existed, man.
I think that like it maybe isn't that much of a comparison, but
did you hear that when I do that?
I do.
That
I hear
sucks.
when you're moving around, I can hear something.
It's like just this freaking cable, dude. It sucks.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That's weird. I know that it's not that good of a comparison, but if you think about, the uncharted seas, depths of the sea that we don't know about, like all kind, and we've sent drones down there. We've gone and looked for stuff, but there's shit that we don't know and how big they are, how huge things are down there. And I'm not saying, of course, a thick national forest is way more accessible than the deep sea. But you have, lots of scientists that are involved in the deep sea, thousands, and they still don't know a lot about it. There's a lot of uncharted stuff. There's a lot of shit they don't know about the deep sea, the abysses and stuff. But that's actually a community that does that. There's no community of scientists that aren't rednecks that don't, that look for Bigfoot, that really, I mean, even if you think about aliens for years, nobody spent the time and energy to look for aliens. You know what I mean? Because it was kind of just like how people talk about Bigfoot. Like it's just, yeah, you're a fool. Now that technology and now that there's actually money put into scientists, looking for intelligent life, we're going to find it. It's not going to take, it's not like the last, 30 years. We're going to find it soon.
Dude, I have this idea
of life or some sort.
Dude, I have this idea that smart, intelligent, astrophysicists, NASA engineers, whatever, like even back in the 50s, they knew that alien life existed. If they didn't, they were swayed by religion somehow. But there's no way, like once you start looking at the stars, unless you have this mindset that we are 100% unique and all of this other stuff that supposedly God created was just for us to look at or for
Right.
us to like. There's none of that makes sense, and unless you have the mindset of, oh, we're that special, we're that awesome, and we're not. We kill each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like neighbors kill neighbors over stupid arguments. There's nothing special about us. We're just we're less hairy apes. That's all we are. You know.
So why is it that like no scientists talked about it? Like no scientists wanted to believe it
Because of the
or
stigma.
give any credit to it. Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah, I can
but
see
but
that.
you can't relate that to
Why? Why
the
not?
fact that we're exploring the ocean and finding new things, and how that's a reason why we still could be exploring terrain like above the ocean and find new things. Like it's hard to explore and we haven't explored the ocean at those depths because that's not where we live, right? We can't breathe underwater, right? Like you get
Right.
100 feet underwater and like
Well,
the pressures are intense. You need a submarine. You
Right,
have a
but we
limited
can
amount
do
of
it.
time.
But we can do it, and I that's what I was saying. I don't think it's the same level. That's why I'm saying maybe I can't compare apples to apples on it. But these dense forests, people don't go. You know what I mean? They don't go into them. They don't. You don't get. There's trails that that humans hike, and we don't go off trail. You know what I mean? Like we don't go off the roads. We don't go off the trails. We don't just go into the forest. Nobody does that. You know what I mean? They don't do it.
Dude, I guess it
And if there's I mean, if you think about these roads that are, these trails are roads, even just in the mountains that we camp in, you know what I mean? There's roads everywhere. So, there's not, you can walk maybe a mile and then you see another trail or a road, or you can walk, 200 yards and see another trail or a road. But, in those dense forests up in North America, they have one road, one trail, and then that's it. And, thousands and thousands of square acreage and miles.
maybe I'm giving too much credit to satellite imagery. The fact that we've mapped and we know the terrain. I would think that we would have seen something, right? All of these satellites going overhead. We even talked about drones last time and how you can buy a $30,000 DJI drone that has LiDAR and heat sinking. Like these stupid drones can be in the air for like 2 hours, dude, and you can fly them for miles. Now it's against the law to fly them for miles. Like the FAA even doesn't even give clearance for that. You always need to be within eye shot of them.
Right.
But it like these drones are built for search and rescue. Like they can find a body in the forest from 500 feet up, and
Right.
dude. And once you look at like the mapping ability of these, I would just think that you would see something. And
I just don't think people do. I don't think people spend the time or money to do that. I don't think they risk breaking laws to do that.
But 30 grand is a crap ton of money for you and I. 30 grand is nothing for someone who makes $400,000 a year. And there's a lot of idiots that make $400,000 a year that are in love with Bigfoot. And the reason why we don't know anything about Bigfoot is because those idiots have spent the 30 grand on a drone, gone out there, did it, and they have nothing to report. And they
If
don't want to
that
look
was
like
the
a fool.
case, they would still have videos of like there's so many Bigfoot shows where these guys are hunting Bigfoot and they never find fucking anything.
Surprise,
they
surprise.
find a footprint,
Yeah,
or
they never find
You
it.
know what I mean? Yeah, okay, but it doesn't mean that. That's what I'm saying. So you're acting like why don't I see this drone footage of these people trying to look thin somewhere? Drone footage of heat sinking, trying to find a Bigfoot. It's not anywhere. So
Because that's
if
proof
they're-
it still doesn't exist, right? Like
they're not posting it because they don't want to believe that it doesn't exist.
Well, what are they going to do? Like they're going to put a drone up in the air and be like, "Look, we scanned the whole area and we got nothing."
Yeah, well, we'll keep
Game
looking.
over.
I mean,
Show's
no,
over. We got nothing.
They spend $30,000 and they quit. You're right. No, I would think that there's got to be something out there that they would be saying, "Hey, this is what we're doing. There's nothing yet. We're going to continue looking." There's plenty of ghost hunters and plenty of, UFO hunters that do the same shit and don't find anything, but they post it all. They keep doing it all. They all have all their scientific gadgets that they use and cameras and high-tech cameras, and they still don't see shit. You know what I mean? So why would it be different? I just don't think people are putting anything into this. I really don't.
So are you holding on to the fact that it's just there's a possibility, there's a chance, right? I mean, so doesn't that go into the idea that, dude, I'm just going to make something up, couldn't there be
Yeah.
like intelligent moles, right? Like really smart groundhogs or something, right? That are just brilliant, that bury their death or they're dead, and they've evolved to where they eat their own poo so they can live underground forever. I mean, if we're just make stuff up, we can make it up. But I mean,
Right.
like, is
Right.
that the level that you're like?
But
Hey,
if
it's
if
possible.
you said
It's
that,
possible.
and then thousands and thousands of people for hundreds of years have said the same thing, yes, I would probably put some possibility to it. Because that's what this is. For hundreds of years, people have been talked about Sasquatch or Bigfoot, and there's hundreds of sightings a year, and there's pictures, and there's video, and there's stuff that like that are, I mean, it's not the videos that you see that I've seen. They're not like 100% no. They're not. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, yeah. Yeah, like yes. So if there were some moles that were intelligent that ate their poop and lived, and they've been talked about for hundreds of years by, a million people, I might have some wonder. Maybe it is true. Maybe they do exist.
Dude, there's no argument against that, right? Like if you just want to believe it's possible.
Even if you go back, the giant squids back in the 1700s when there was rumors of giant squid attacking boats or attaching, and then just recently they find out there are giant squids. You know what I mean? Huge fucking squids. You know what I mean? So, like, to me, there's some truth to stuff like that. You know what I mean? There's some truth to something unexplained out there that there's possibly something we don't know about, even if it's something that possibly is nearly extinct, but they live for a few hundred years, and guess what, maybe they're gone now. Maybe Bigfoot died off, who knows. I don't know. I mean, if you realize technology's only been around, good technology's only been around for 50 years, 30 years.
Right.
And if something's been around, something's been around for a couple hundred years or 100, even 100 years. This Bigfoot's been walking around or whatever. The last of its kind has been walking around somewhere. What if it's just one? What if it's just one surviving on the land in endless, endless forest? What if it's a few that are just surviving, that are just dying off, and they live to be 100? What if that's it?
Well, then they'd be dead by now.
Why?
Or you're saying
gonna die.
You're saying that the ones that
the
spottings that happened in 1970, those are the last.
Or now there's spot. What if the few spottings they see now, even nowadays, maybe that's just the last of them. Maybe they're going away. Maybe there is just a few of them that are dwindling.
See, dude, this is what extinct. You do. You like something like that. Okay, maybe there was 3,000 of them left like 100 years ago, and then today.
Yeah. Why is that not okay? That's what I'm saying. Like, you go from me being ridiculous to believe in this, but when I throw out something that makes logic and sense, this is what you do. This is how you do it. No, I mean, to me, I'm saying I think there's a possibility of Bigfoot. But who knows what the scenario is? Who knows why they're here, or how they're here, or how long they've been here, or how long they will be here, or if they're even here anymore? What if that last video that was taken in 2018 was the last one and it died the next day?
So how is it? I would think, let's say you were like digging a pool in your backyard, right? Like you had people show up, they start digging, and they start finding bones, and then suddenly you're like, this is a weird, like, I don't know, Tyrannosaurus or some kind of like, this is an animal. Right. But then isn't it like everyone comes in and is like, oh shoot, we got to see what's going on here. Like, and it's like they start digging up backyards and realize, oh, this was like a mass extinction zone for dinosaurs. Right. And it's like, it does prove that, this meteor, whatever.
And that's what it would take, right? It would take, just like it would take aliens coming down and visiting us and everybody seeing them to actually believe in it.
Imagine if we saw if someone had a video, they were walking, they were hunting, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, what the hell is that? And they look over and it's like a stegosaurus.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what they would say? Oh, that's fake. No one would believe it. Even if it was the most real footage in the world, everybody would be like, that's fake. That's impossible. Dinosaur died 10 million years ago.
But
That's what they would say. And everybody would discredit.
Some people would show up and they would and they would.
You'd have a dozen people show up.
Only a dozen. You don't think anyone?
Yeah, dude.
Listen, but
what about
here's the thing.
Area 52?
You don't think that they would?
Remember, millions of people were going to go look at Area 52, and 100 showed up. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's what we would do. A dozen would show up if something like that happened.
Area 50? You mean Area 51?
Area 51.
50,
Yeah,
I was like, what are you talking
51,
about? I was like,
yeah.
where's this new one? 52.
Remember the whole I'm going to storm Area 51, and there was millions of people all about it, and then 30 showed up.
Well, they're idiots.
That's what I'm saying. That is the same kind of shit. Yes, so I do believe that if someone saw a dinosaur, filmed it, you'd have a dozen people who oh my God, I'm all on board on this, and go check it out.
But here's the thing.
Not millions of people and not spending millions of dollars to figure it out.
I would believe that people from the video alone, that they would be able to look at it and determine if it was real or not. Dude, there's times I had a friend when I worked in manufacturing. He was like, dude, this is a picture of a ghost. And he was solid. This is proof that ghosts exist. And I looked at it and dude, I'm not a photo expert by any stretch, obviously, right? I went home, threw it in a photo editor, zoomed in super tight. And you don't even have to do that on a photo editor. But with this one, I was able to get stupid, crazy close. And you could realize just on the pixelation alone, once you get close, that there's an obvious difference. That this thing, you can almost see the copy paste line. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was just this border that I was like, dude, this thing isn't real. And he just wanted to believe. So I would think that if someone found a video of a dinosaur out in the wild, and people are like, no, this isn't possible. They died 20 years, 20 million years ago, whatever. Obviously more. Someone would analyze the video for proof, and they'd be like, this seems legit. We got to send a crew out. And so, Stanford would go out.
1967 video of Bigfoot has been analyzed over and over and over.
And
there's experts that know. Yeah, there's experts that said, yeah, this does not walk like a person, does not move like a person. They actually were able to digitally enhance it, and they said that they think they saw flexing of muscles when it was walking. So there are people who do say that, and there's two people who discredit it. That's the thing, is who do you believe? People there's scientists that did, or I don't know what they're called, expert video look-at-ers that saw that, that looked at it. So, you act like this isn't new. Like this has been happening with anything that comes forth forever.
But they would go out there to where that video was shot, and they would see something, right? They would see fibers of hair. They would,
or footprints.
Something.
Right. They seen footprints, Chris.
Yeah, and they've dude, you could tell if it's toe heel, right? You could tell by the gait, and if it's someone that was just stamping footprints, right? And there's just. I'm just saying. Dude,
there are people listen, there are definitely people I do believe that there's probably more hoaxers than non-hoaxers, you know what I mean? Or people who make these stupid footprints and they're like, oh, look at this is the difference between this footprint and this footprint, but you get real what are those doctors that know feet, or people who know feet. And they're like, well, they're not a podiatrist. It's called something else. But they've had those people, look at these footprints and say, this looks like it could be a legit footprint. You know what I mean? It could be a legit. There's actually, how our hands have, our fingers have fingerprints, our feet have feet prints.
Yeah.
And there's in some of these castings, they can see stuff like that. You know what I mean? Stuff that's on the bottom of the foot. I'm just saying, of course, someone who thinks that the idea of Bigfoot is just ridiculous and you hate it, and anybody who even thinks that it might exist is a lesser intelligence. Of course, you would think that anything that anybody brings up is bullshit. So when you look at it closed mind like that, I can't expect you to think any differently.
So this is where I think every argument that you ever have, where it lies, right? It's you live in this world of possibility, right? It could be possible. Ghosts could be real, and for we'll just throw out reasons of alternate realities and
pure
alternate
evidence, Chris.
Universes or whatever. And dude, with ghosts, I could go there a little bit with you, dude. Even like sea monsters, right? Because we're not able. That's not where like.
Not Loch Ness monster, but sea monsters.
Well, Loch Ness monster is the same as Bigfoot. Like, dude, I could see Loch Ness monster as being like this like rogue dinosaur. You know what I mean? Like this fairy tale of this underwater, dinosaur era creature that's just been passed on. But it's what they're seeing is like dolphins or whatever, and you get
It's a lake.
Whatever. I don't care. Dude, a lake, if anything, would be super easy to canvas, right? I mean, just to go like even if it's a massive lake, like lakes in Arizona are jokes. We don't have lakes.
It's a massive lake that's in a freezing temperature most of the time. You know what I mean? That's where the Loch Ness monster
How deep
is
that lake?
It's really deep. It's really deep,
really?
Chris.
Yeah.
It's a big, huge, deep lake
Scientific.
that Nessie swims through and only shows it herself every once in a while that people see. Okay?
No.
So, like, okay. And like, so am I would say, like, with the Loch Ness monster thing, I don't believe it. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that, even though.
You don't believe in Loch Ness, but you believe in Bigfoot?
Yeah, because Loch Ness monster, you're right. It's a lake, and it's not like uncharted. Like they could send anything down in a fucking lake and look for it, and they haven't found anything. You know what I mean? So, but like the entire North America into Canada wilderness is so big. It's so it's like finding a needle in a haystack. It's not. If it's just one, if it's just a few, if they live underground, I mean, it's just to me that's more likely than Loch Ness monster. So I don't believe in Loch Ness monster. No, I do not believe.
Gotcha.
Do I believe in mermaids? People have been spotting mermaids forever.
Hold on, please. Do you believe in mermaids?
Let me finish.
Do you believe in mermaids?
Let me
Go ahead.
finish. No, I don't. I don't really believe in mermaids. But it could be something from the ocean that we don't see that's not like half human. I mean, like, anytime they talk about a mermaid, they don't look like half human up there and they look like kind of monsters up on top and fins on the bottom. They just look weird. All these fake pictures of mermaids I've seen. But I don't believe that, but like if people did see something, it could be it could have been a seal that they thought was a mermaid, you know what I mean? Or something popping their head out of the water and then flapping their tail when they go down. I mean, that all makes sense too, but I mean, like, so when you say I believe anything, I don't think so. I don't think I believe in anything.
I don't mean that
just because there's a possibility of it.
But I don't mean that as a negative thing, right? Like that's where you leave it. You're like, hey dude, it's possible. This could really, like, you're not going to rule it out. Where I tend to rule it out. I'm like, dude, there's no way this thing exists.
You rule it. That's like your first instinct is to rule it out, though. 90% of the time, it's no, that's impossible. I'm done with it.
Yeah,
end there.
Well, I mean, dude, but not from a.
But why? Like, how would man exist or ever move up a level if they just stopped? If they just believed the world was flat and stopped there, or just believed that humans were the only thing in the world before, what I mean? You instantly say, no, that's not true, not real. I don't look anything past that. But you have to be open to possibilities and learn and find things and research things.
I come into it from a standpoint of like using the knowledge that I know and saying like, this doesn't make sense.
Right. And you know what? That's what the people who only believed in gods or believed the world was flat thought also. They only went as far as they knew because that's all they knew. And then you're no different than those people who thought the world was flat, You're no different than the flat earthers that are alive now because they're like, it's impossible. As far as I know, everything I know points that this world is flat. And that's you right now. You're a flat earther.
Are you implying that you could be a flat earther?
No.
Because you have information that tells you that that's not possible.
Me?
Yeah. You know that the earth isn't flat.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So I'm going along with that like train of knowledge that I understand what it takes to live on like in the terrain of Earth, like on the surface, what it would. I just can't see.
And there's no anomalies, right? For what you know, there's no weird anomalies in this world that don't fall outside of things.
Not from a standpoint of what it would take to survive, to be a giant being that you can see on a rooftop, as you explained. So assume that, I mean, dude, at a distance of 300 feet, 400 feet, 500 feet, to know the difference between 500 or a 5-foot being and a 7-foot being, I don't know. But I know as a human, the amount of calories it takes to be 5 feet tall or 7 feet tall is like pretty different. And then to be able to walk along that terrain, like what it would take right now, like listen.
I don't get that argument, Chris.
Listen,
I don't get.
Dude, think of the only 7-foot people you have ever seen, right? Like Yao Ming, what was he, like 7'2", had bad knees, right? So let's say you have a 7-foot creature that doesn't have bad knees. What does that mean? How much do they like? They have to support the weight, is what that is, right? So they need stronger ligaments, stronger bones. They gotta be ape-like, right? Like just thick fucking straw. Like
isn't that what a Bigfoot is? Everybody says they're big apes. They look like big apes.
The calorie intake of that, right? Like so what do they got to eat? They're not eating berries. There's no way. The protein.
Apes. I think apes are omnivores, but they mostly eat vegetables. Just like bears. Bears are big black bears. Big black bears that are 700 pounds. They eat mostly vegetation. Mostly.
Here's the thing, though. We know that bears exist
and bugs.
You can't hide from like caloric intake, right? That's
why we know bears exist, because they eat a lot.
No, but because they're like.
I'm just saying there could be, there's plenty of evidence of big ass animals that exist, and there's thousands and thousands of black bear, and they eat. And they're huge, and they eat what you think they can't, like a Bigfoot can't eat.
This goes back to like the root of my problem, right? With this argument is I feel like I have to argument like I have to argue the fundamentals. I can't even say that word. The fundamentals of like how creatures can live. Right? Like you don't get the best of everything. Like if you get the best of everything, then you're a super being. If you're a super being, then you're not in hiding from this second in command, which is humans, is kind of what you're implying. So if they don't eat protein, if they only eat berries, then they have to eat all the time, right? Like dinosaurs were massive and they ate all the time. They were slow moving, and if apes only, and I would agree with you that apes aren't, like, they might be omnivores, they might eat a little bit of protein, right? Like chickens, right? Like we all think that they eat grain, but they will tear apart a mouse if it enters their, like they will fight for it. Horses will eat birds if they fly too close, right? Like birds know what's up. Like they're not going to be around a horse.
I didn't know horses.
They will chomp the shit out of a bird, dude. They will freaking
that'd be awesome.
Dude, check that on YouTube.
I've never seen video that I have to look at.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
They just
dude, they'll kick that. I mean, dude, it's crazy.
I've seen sharks come out of the water and eat birds and stuff, but
but they eat meat. So if this thing only eats berries, it's got to.
Who says it only eats berries?
You did, because it doesn't eat protein.
I said it's an omnivore. Why can't it be an omnivore?
Doesn't that mean it also eats protein?
Yes, meat and berries.
Yeah,
meat and vegetarian.
But what I'm saying is you can't hide from caloric intake, right? Like to maintain that size, you have to. It's calories in versus calories out, right? To maintain
you
that
act
size.
like this is a 40-ton dinosaur, Chris.
No,
it's
an agile. It's a 7-foot tall, 300-pound thing that has good knees. That's what I'm saying, right? Think of all the 7-foot people you know, right? They play in the NBA and they have bad knees, right? So this thing has way better knees than Yao Ming or any other 7-foot tall.
Right.
So it's got to be 300 pounds. It can't be 220. It can't be 240. It's got to be 340
or more.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's got to eat a shit ton, right? It's got to eat a shit ton.
Right.
It's got to shit a bunch.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm just
when it's in a forest full of forever vegetation and bugs and shit. It can eat whatever. It can eat a lot. I don't see the problem. When you talk about Yao Ming, you talk about these humans aren't made to be that tall. So that's why tall
Because
humans have
they're
have
intelligent.
body issues, because they're humans. You know, they're an anomaly when you get a huge person like that. It's not normal.
But you imply that this thing is smart enough. It knows who we are, or it knows that it should hide from us. Like,
Yes, I think so.
Does it hide the same from jaguars? Does it hide the same from other? Like, why doesn't it see us as prey?
Probably because it's smart enough to know. I mean, if you think about, most black bears will run from a human, even though it can fuck us up. It'll run 90% time unless it has to fight for its life, for its babies or anything. But a bear is fucking bolting from us. You know, they're staying away from us. Even though it could eat us and even though it could kill us, they are most likely gonna run away and more scared of us than we are them. And that's a dumb bear.
That's a good point. I don't have an argument for that. I mean, I just...
Even mountain lions, they can fuck us up and they hide from us. You know what I mean? They just, all these predators, I think even the dumbest animals know that humans are the apex predator. You know what I mean? Even though they can kick our ass. You know, a bear will kill me, a mountain lion, a deer will fuck me up. You know, I seen those fucking deer go after humans with those bucks that are in heat and they just fuck people up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, anything like that will fuck me up. But guess what? They're all going to do before they fuck me up? Run. 99% of the time.
Unless, like you've seen like those, what are they? Bobcat videos, right? Of you know, there's been a handful in the last 5 years or so of like someone on a hike somewhere. Dude, are you clicking a pin?
Oh yeah, I'm
okay.
Actually clicking this knife.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I can hear it. It's all good. It's all good.
I'm good up and down. My bad.
Where they some dude's on a hike and they like out of nowhere some like bobcat or some kind of cat shows up and it just attack like growling or whatever, because they saw some like baby kitten or some kind of baby bobcat, right? And I would
or they're rabid. A lot of times those videos are rabid animals that don't think straight. You know what I mean?
Dude, here's the thing. You tend to think that anything is possible, regardless of the knowledge that you have, I feel like. And I'm not saying that's a knock against you, right? Like that's
and you're not wrong. Right. I would agree.
That's how, like, you consistently play devil's advocate, and you will just say, hey, dude, it's possible. Like, we don't know everything, so it's possible. And I'll agree with you on that. But I just, in some, like, there could be some ocean monster that we don't know about. 100% there is an ocean monster that, yes, there are giant squid that we have no idea exist. There are ocean creatures that we have no idea exist. 100%. But
I got one for
on our terrain where we live, I don't think that that's possible, man. I don't think that you get a 340 pound, 7 foot thing that is intelligent enough to know to hide from us. That can the amount of if they don't slaughter animals, and all they if their diet is 70-30, where the 70% is vegetation. I think even at that level, I think that we know bear exist. We know bear. That's the difference.
Because there's tons of them. Yes, they're
because that's what it takes for bears.
Thousands of bears.
Because that's what it takes for a species.
So
to
here's
exist.
another example of another species.
Hold on. That's what I'm saying, right? Like you wanna rule all of that out. That we know bear exists because there's so many of them, and you want to think that. I mean, dude, with your rationale, Bigfoot is going to be gone in the next 20 years.
Yeah. Maybe they're on the verge of extinction. I would say yes.
Well, hold on.
I look at it like the Norwhale. Or is that what the Norwhale is? The whale that's like a unicorn, has that big spike.
Narwhal. Yeah.
Narwhal, whale, whatever. There's so few of those. Like they're such a rare sighting, and there's not thousands of these, and they're nearly on the edge of extinction. And when people do see them, it's 1 in a million. You know, they don't get spotted all the time. There's not a place where they can see them all the time. You know, it's another example of a species that there's very few of them, but we know they exist.
So we can put this in the same category, dude. It's funny. I was thinking growing up, or I was thinking about when we were growing up. I felt like people believed that Elvis was still alive. Like,
Right.
like there was this thing, like he never died. He just went into hiding. Is this thing,
Right.
And for a long time,
Like he faked his death.
exactly, right. But obviously by this point, you know, Elvis would have died.
Yeah.
Same
Of old age, right?
Right. Same with Hitler. They could have thought that he made it to Argentina or someplace, right, and lived there. But by now he would be, you know, 120 some, and so obviously he's dead. So logically, you have to put this in the same category, right? Like everything that we talked about tonight, that you believe that if Bigfoot exists because we saw it in 1962 or whatever it was, 67, that's the best video that we've ever gotten, that you logically have to believe that it's on the edge of extinction and that maybe it's got 20 years left? Or do you think it's a thriving civilization?
No, I don't think it's a thriving civilization. No, I do not think that.
Like,
I think
like bears.
Yes, I don't think it's like a bear. I think it's a dying civilization. That's what I would say. If it exists, I think it's not something that it's on the verge of extinction. That's why there's so few. That's why, but I feel like there's this video that I watched and it was very interesting to me. Like I saw some news clip, it was on the news and stuff, and I saw a lot of videos on it. But it was in Mississippi, which isn't a normal Bigfoot sighting place. But there was this fucking big ass thing, and it was a good video. You should look it up. Just type in Mississippi Bigfoot, and it's clear, but it's far away, of course, where you can't see anything. But you see this fucking thing. It looks like a gorilla, and it's tearing the bark off these trees. It goes, it makes this big old like it's fucking this tree up because it's doing something to this tree. And I'm thinking, what is that? What is that? Watch that video and tell me what you think that is.
I believe I've seen that video. I think you sent it to me. Dude, it cuts out too quick, right? Like
yeah.
You can't, dude. I don't know. You can't. I'm not a video expert, right? I mean, and so I don't have an argument for that. But what I do know is that if it, you know, he's filming it and he's like, oh shoot, and like, you know, he takes off running, and that's it. And it's a 28-second clip. I just don't see.
Chris, put yourself in this situation where we are camping, you and I, and we see this fucking weird thing that we don't know what it is, and we're filming it, and we're looking and whispering, and we're like, we have no fucking clue what it is. I'm not saying this is Bigfoot, but I don't know what it is.
Right.
And all of a sudden it turns around. What the fuck are we doing? We're running because we're normal, and that's what normal people do. They don't just sit there and film. They fucking run. That's what normal people do. So maybe that's why they only have short clips like this, because it's people being afraid of something that they don't know what the fuck it is.
Dude,
you know, when you have people filming these narwhals, they're not scared. They are set up and prepared for it. Most people who are seeing Bigfoots aren't prepared for it. Or even if they are prepared, even if they are out looking for Bigfoot, you're still got that human, oh God, oh shit, my lighting on my camera's not good, or I'm not focused good because I'm just trying to hurry up and film this shit. You know, think about anything that you try to do with perfection when you're under pressure or scared or anything. You know what I mean?
Dude, here's the thing, right? Like if we go back to if you and I are camping and we're out hiking, right? And we go, you know, which you and I have done, you know, disbursement camping, like it's, you know, it's not a real campground, but it's where people camp still. But if we go out, and you know, we've gone hunting once, and where we've hiked a mile or two off, just like we're just going, right?
Right.
And if we came across something and we filmed it, and we're like, oh, I don't know what this is, and we took off running or whatever, and we're like, we saw Bigfoot, right? And we sent that into someone. some agency, to some university, some whatever. I mean, shit. Even if we posted on YouTube, right, and it was legit, I believe that people, someone would analyze the video, would reach out, especially with all of the sightings that Bigfoot has had, that there would be some follow through with it, and maybe, and I believe, man, there probably has, but it's materialized into nothing, and this is where, like, I think you just stop and don't think, like, just like, oh no, it's you want to believe that it's because of the stigma of Bigfoot that people don't look at it.
Right.
But it's because they already have looked at it and they realize, nah, this is bullshit. And so there's no need.
Yeah.
And
I think that you think that anybody looks at these videos say, no, this is bullshit. There's plenty of people who say, yeah, this is unexplained, or I don't know what this is. So no, of course there's nobody going to be saying this is 100% Bigfoot because we don't know that Bigfoot
there
exists.
is not
but they will say, I don't know what this is. There's plenty of videos they're saying, I don't know what this is. It's not a bear. It looks like a gorilla, but I don't know what it is. So what is it? So, I mean, it's just like getting your house appraised. You go to 10 different appraisers. 5 people are going to say it's worth this much, and the other 5 are going to say it's worth this much. But they're all professionals. They're all professionals at their job. It's the same thing with those kind of things,
dude. With I don't think you know what you're talking about. Because listen, if it's like people, dude, I don't even know how to argue this point, right? Like if it was legit, it would be legit, right? Like if I could look at an audio source, and I'm no audio expert, right? But in this little bit that we've done this podcast, right? I like, you can see the audio waveforms, right? And it's obvious when something doesn't match up, right? Like there's no, like,
right.
Like you could tell based on the microphone you're using, based on the microphone I'm using. The video you sent me today, right? I told Cam, I was like, with the little bit of knowledge I have about microphones, this doesn't make sense. And I know that video was a joke, right?
Right.
But the same can be said for video as well. And so they don't even have to go out and look at it. They could just look at the data and realize that it's been manipulated. And so,
yes, but I don't think it's always been manipulated. Like I'm saying there's tons of stuff out there that's not manipulated.
I have only seen, dude, so the only video that seems legit out of all of the Bigfoot videos I've seen, and the problem probably is that 99.999%, let's round up to 100, are bullshit, is that one from 1967. And the one from 1967 is full of question marks because, like, that's recorded on, I don't even know what kind of film that was, right? Like, old school freaking, let's
16 millimeter, I think it said.
It's grainy as shit. It's green. It doesn't,
Chris, like when you say 99.9 and round up to 100 videos are bullshit, what do you mean? Like you're saying it's 99.9% is manipulated?
Yes.
Or okay, see that's where I completely disagree. I mean, you obviously didn't look at a lot of videos. Like there's a lot of videos that you just don't know what the hell they are. You just don't know what it is. I don't think it's obvious manipulation. You can see manipulation when you see ghosts. Like I've seen tons of ghost videos too, and some videos I'm like, oh my god, that is a real fucking ghost. And then I'm looking at other ghost videos, I'm like, oh my god, I hate when they put this shit out here because it's obviously fake. It's obviously manipulated. I haven't seen any of the videos I saw that are somewhat credible are not manipulated videos because they've gone through all those people saying, hey, yeah, that's probably just someone dressed up as something. That's what it normally is. If any of these naysayers would say something, they say, yeah, that's something out there. It's probably just a guy in a gorilla costume. It's probably just a real tall guy in a costume. It's not like that it's manipulated and of images inserted into the video. It's mostly the video's real. They just say, oh, it's got to be some guy in a gorilla costume because that's where everybody goes. They don't look past anything. They just automatically go there because they don't believe in Bigfoot. So they're going to instantly say, yeah, it's just some guy in a gorilla costume. Even though like other people will watch it and say, yeah, the movements are this. It's not really human-like movements.
Dude,
I don't know what it is. I'm not saying it's Bigfoot. And most of those people who are scientists who don't know, they normally say, I'm not saying it's Bigfoot, but this here and this here and this here kind of shows me it's not human. It's not like normal human movements.
I would. How are like new species found? Right. I mean, is it someone is filming a bird flapping its like some hawk that flies away and is like, this isn't like the motion of the flapping wings is different. Like this is proof, the coloration, the size of the beak. There's something about it that doesn't match the definition that we've already set for this type of species.
Right.
And I just would assume that when you see Bigfoot, right? And dude, listen. When I say manipulated, I mean all facets. Whether it's someone's injecting audio, someone's it's actually really hard, I believe, minus in today's standards, to inject Bigfoot into a video without someone noticing, right? Like,
right.
Now you got AI and we can see like an Instagram where someone suddenly has like, glasses on and they weren't wearing, but they're not wearing glasses.
Like snap filters. Yeah.
Right.
Those are pretty good.
Yeah. But imagine if you have a high powered computer, how good you can do that, right? Like,
right. Nowadays, deep fakes and stuff is crazy.
Sure.
Right.
Deep fakes is the right word.
Technology is crazy.
I could do something like
most
that.
Most of these videos are from older.
Sure. So it is someone in an ape costume, and they're being like, "Hey, listen, like they're smart enough to know that they're."
You think that's somebody in an ape costume, correct?
But they understand how hips work. They understand if you're gonna walk on, like if you're bipedal, you walk on 2 feet. This is the way it's got to work. Like you can't, if you're hunched over and you're walking that way. They're like, that's just. Like it's not like you're faking it. That's not a natural gait. You wouldn't have a hump like that or something.
When a scientist says this video, I don't know what it is, but these aren't human characteristics of how they walk. It's because it is a human in the ape costume that's walking weird because he's playing Bigfoot.
Yes,
he's acting as Bigfoot, so therefore he's not walking.
Yes, they're acting like Bigfoot.
Yeah, right. Which I could see. I could see that if you want there to be zero possibility of Bigfoot, of course you would say something like that. Yes, that makes sense. So which is fine. I'm not saying that's a negative thing. I'm just saying that argument makes sense because you're saying that every single one is 100% somebody dressed up in a costume.
All right, dude. We've been at this for about an hour and a half, so we got to wrap it up here. But I feel like over the last week, you might have done some research and maybe felt foolish. And I don't mean that as a negative way. And it sounds negative, but
right.
Do you, like right now, today, your honest opinion, right? No devil's advocate, which you're really good at. It's what you do, which I admire. I swear to God, I do, right? Mm-hmm. Like the idea that you think that it's possible. I'm a little envious of that because that's just not how my brain works.
Right. You only like one kind of music. You only like, you're very, very tunnel vision. But yeah, go ahead.
I can't help but like Dave Matthews Band, man. Like, dude, I hate seeing articles about they're like, who's more annoying, Hootie and the Blowfish or Dave Matthews Band? And I'm like, what?
Exactly. It is definitely Dave Matthews. But go ahead.
Drives me nuts. So okay, but honestly, does Bigfoot exist?
So when I first started looking into this after we talked about it, I know I texted you and said, dude, this is so hard because everything I'm seeing is so fucking stupid. Like Like it's like I can't find a video that doesn't have a moron on it. You know what I mean? Like and it was very discouraging, and maybe it was definitely make me think like, God, why am I so stupid? You know, why do I latch onto these things and want to believe in things? Okay, so I had that moment of doubt, just like when Jesus was being tempted by the devil in the desert. That's what. Just kidding. Either way, but the more videos I watched, the more stuff I watched, where I kind of just filtered out all these hillbillies and obvious stupid people, and just actually watch people, even people who don't believe in Bigfoot. They will analyze these videos and they'll say, and 99% of the time, these people who are analyzing these videos are saying, yeah, Bigfoot doesn't exist. This is a guy in a costume. But you know what I mean? Like that's what they would come up. But they're analyzing it, but they can't really tell. Like they'll really pretty much say, we don't know what it is. You know, we can't make out what it is. You can see this, you can see that, we can see this movement, but you know, there's no Bigfoot, so it's a human. So but that didn't convince me. So I still would say I still am at the same level of possibility that it exists without devil advocate. Like if Bigfoot showed up tomorrow, someone caught one, shot one, found its body and it's real, I'd be like, see, I knew it. You would have to be like, oh man, this is, I'm boom, my mind's blown, because I never thought for a million years that would be something that existed. So yeah, I still am in the same place. Maybe even more, because it made me think about it in a different light, where I never really thought about Bigfoot as, you know, before I started talking to you, as intelligent, as all these other possibilities. How because I started thinking about, if Bigfoot does exist, how is it that we've never had a dead body or never found, you know, poop? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's poop all over a Bigfoot if he exists. People just don't look at poop. You know what I mean? They don't. We'll see poop while we're walking in the forest, and we'll be like, oh, let's inspect this and make sure it's not Bigfoot poop, because there's nobody who does that.
Do you realize there's scientists that all they do
who go to
poop?
Where they know bears are to study bear poop? You know what I mean? They go to these places where they know things are, and they study their poop, bat poop, bear poop, elk poop. They go to where they know they are, and that's what they're going for. They're going to study that bear poop, you know. So yes.
So these human-like hairy ape creatures magically have poop that don't look like human, right? Like, dude, if a dog shits on my patio, I'll be like, that's dog shit, right? If a deer comes and shits, like I know it's deer shit. If a human shits on my patio, I'm like, you would know. Well, my initial thought
when I was 7 years old, I pooped right in my front yard, and it stayed there, and it looked like dog poop to me for until it was picked up somehow, because I didn't pick it up. I literally pooped. I remember pooping right in my front yard as a kid. Maybe I was 6 years old, but I pooped right in my front yard, and it stayed there for weeks. And I looked at it, and I kept looking at it all the time, because I know I pooped there. And I'm like, I always thought it looked like dog poop. So I'm just saying, and even though human poop, if someone found a Sasquatch poop, I'm sure it's really close to human poop. So it'd be like, you know, what humans pooping in the woods here? Let's invest. Let's dissect. Let's take this into the lab for sampling and spend $30,000 on this. No, that's not what's happening.
You realize they're already they're out there. It's not they're already out there, right? Like
whatever. They're analyzing. Sure. They're looking for bear poop. They're looking for
but if they find
poop.
Something that looks like human poop, like it looks like human,
they're gonna pick it up and analyze.
Or they're gonna.
That's what they would do, or they'd be like,
well, I mean, dude, listen.
Humans are ruining everything.
If you shit in the woods, odds are there's some toilet paper.
Unless it's an emergency. I was testing backflow before, and I was in a kind of desert area, Casa Grande. I had no toilet paper. I had to go so bad. I shit right by this. I was, thank God that this backflow was surrounded by a bunch of fucking tumbleweeds and bushes, that I was able to shit right next to that backflow, and I did not have any toilet paper. I pulled my pants up and I fucking got in the car and I finished testing the backflow, and then I got in the car and then I drove off to a Walmart or whatever and wiped my butt. Yeah, so that could happen. You can shit in the woods in an emergency, and if you don't have toilet paper.
That might be the best story I've ever heard in my life. That is awesome. I mean,
I was like, do I take my socks off? But then I got to put my shoes on without socks. I was like, there's got to be something I can wipe my ass with. But there was nothing. There's no, like there was this. I have these, backflow parts that are in plastic bags. I attempted to wipe with that plastic bag, but it was just.
What'd you do with the plastic bag?
I threw it on the ground, but I mean, I was like, okay, this isn't working. I have to just pull my pants up.
Oh.
Yeah. See, so I'm saying humans do stupid shit. I know my son, when he was little, he used to always shit. And I'm like, did you wipe your ass? Oh, I did, yeah. But probably just one wipe that missed his hole. You know what I mean? People shit without wiping their asses.
Dude, there's a couple times. Dude, we're going to end it after this. But there was I walked into my bathroom the other day and, opened the lid and was shocked by the turd that was left in there, and I'm like, oh god,
with no toilet paper.
It might have been 4 squares, and I'm like, I've shit like that before, and that's a 7 wiper. You know what I mean? Like that's
right.
Like that's
yeah.
That's half.
You got to
a roll.
flush twice. You got to flush to get the shit down, and then flush to get the toilet paper.
And then you might have to
to clean up the
scrub.
shit.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like bust out the brush. And I was like, oh, there's some dirty underwear in here, and might have been my 9-year-old. All right, man.
All right. Bigfoot exists. You better believe.
All right, man.
All right.
Dude, we'll talk later, brother.
All right, bud.